How does it look like that? Okay. Give me just a moment. Let me get the Facebook on. Okay. And get everything adjusted. Minimize my screen. I'll be starting in just a moment. Why does that color look like that? Okay. I'm going to be doing this YouTube Live and Facebook Live. This is the premiere of King's Legacy Group Saturday After Hours version. So let me just get some things adjusted. It's too far over. Okay, that's a little better. That's going to have to do. That's the best I could do. Okay, welcome to King's Legacy Group. If you are not familiar with King's Legacy Group, I normally have my weekly financial literacy platform, which has now been scheduled for every Wednesday. I did not do it this Wednesday, though. I was busy. It is what it is, trying to, grow one business, build a second business, and handle other folks' business. So I apologize for that. But again, if you're not familiar with King's Legacy Group, and my face will be going from side to side because I have YouTube and I have Facebook Live. So be patient with me. But again, I reiterate, my financial literacy platform is on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So far, there are, I think, 26 or 27 videos where the focus has been on teaching our youth and our adults on financial literacy, building generational wealth. And these are attainable goals just by being disciplined and following the process. There are a few topics already posted on the financial literacy platform. So if you can, take a moment and look through those videos at your convenience. And I promise you'll be surprisingly satisfied. It's a lot of information and a lot of more information to come. So today, the day after my 49th birthday, I decided to kickstart my Saturday Live, which is targeting topics, serious topics, the topics that are uncomfortable to address, the topics that are difficult to start conversations. So this platform is to dive right in to go over a lot of life skills that are needed for our children and us as adults, us as females, of us as males, couples, relationship skills. Yes, we're going to dive right in. And if any of you that are watching know me, you know I don't hold punches. I am very comfortable talking about any and everything, but of course, I know I have to be mindful with being on these platforms, social media platforms. So um, I will be mindful of some of the things that I say. I will do my best to be mindful of using profanity, but I will just admit I feel some profanity is needed to express the emphasis on the topic. But again, I'll try my best to be mindful. So, again, tonight is the premiere. It is 8:09. I'm going to give it about one more minute because I know some people said that they were going to be logged in. So, just trying to blow a little time to get some people in. But I'll begin starting in about 2 more minutes, and that will be it. So let me just go ahead and go over the basics. Again, this is King's Legacy Group, the Saturday after hours version, and this is the premiere. And again, we're going to be approaching hot topics that will hit close to home. So, yes, get ready. Anything that is done that I try to stress on what I'm sharing through my platforms is to create a road better planned, because a road better planned is easier traveled. These Saturday episodes are to inspire conversations within our families, with our friends, and our personal relationships that will be part of your life's journey. So let's get ready to talk about the hard topic for tonight. I must warn you, if you are the type of person where you really shouldn't have any issue listening to this episode, because you're in the comfort of your home or wherever you may be. You might be surprised to learn something. You might be influenced to change your behavior and help someone that you love and care about change their behavior. This is really dark. Okay. So it is 8:11. It is time to get started. Before I officially get started, please take a second and click like and share. And then once I finish the video, if you want to make a comment, and then click subscribe so you'll be notified when I have other live episodes, you can be alerted. So for right now, click like and share. See how quick that was? Like, share, like, share. That wasn't even a full 2 seconds. So come on, support the channel so that we can grow, so that we can expand the reach of our audience to put information that's needed to do better and be better in life. As usual, I have to go over a little disclaimer. The information shared on this platform is based on my own opinions, experiences, practices, and insight into the life lessons that has guided me throughout my journey. And any future episodes that will include guests or panel of different people. Again, we are sharing our own experiences and insight to try and help others with information that can improve their lives. The videos are for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. You must do your own due diligence and seek professional advice when you feel the need to confirm or expand your understanding of knowledge on any topics covered on this platform. Also, Remember to make smart decisions that suit your own needs and do your own evaluation on your personal life issues. I am not a professional licensed therapist or a psychologist, although I should have went to school for that as much as people come to me for advice. But no, I'm not official, not licensed. I'm just sharing my story and giving some insight again that can help you and hopefully help others in your life. So if you take what I give you and pass it on to someone else, wonderful. That's the purpose of the platform. So today, before I get that, since you heard me mention about the financial literacy platform and then me doing this now, especially once we get started on the topic, I want you to understand the correlation to King's Legacy Group for the financial platform and for the personal life platform. It all coincides. Um, all of this is about life lessons, being able to um, to make better decisions, make sound decisions, and make responsible choices within our lives. Programming our minds to do better, be better, and mastering disciplines are no different than the needed strategies to achieve financial literacy, mental wellness, and hopefully in the end, immersing ourselves into a productive life of relationships. As parents, we are responsible to teach our kids the needed skills to maneuver through life, to become well rounded human beings. This all begins with having conversations. It starts having comfortable or uncomfortable conversations. And conversations, the definition has not changed. It's a talk, especially an informed conversation with one or more individuals in your life, in which news and ideas are exchanged. Engaging in conversation to gain an understanding or agree to disagree. But it's about starting the process and learning how to communicate with one another. First step, even on the financial literacy platform, I talk about our parental responsibilities. Parents need to start having these conversations first. Well, I haven't even mentioned the topic yet. No, I'm going to mention the topic after this. I want parents to understand the topic that we're going to go over tonight. As parents, you all need to have the conversation with yourselves first before you speak to your child. You need to be mindful of how you approach the topic and agree on what and when you will discuss it. Even when it makes you uncomfortable, remind yourself why you must do this. Think about how much you needed certain conversations when you were a child. Wishing that you had it when you were a child could have better prepared you for life, could have better prepared you on how to deal with life situations, and avoid a lot of mistakes. Again, we have a responsibility. So the question I ask is first, do we not understand that the role of being a parent is to prepare your children to achieve a better life than our own and help teach them how to manage through obstacles? And can most of us honestly say that? Have you really done more than the basics? And the basics is raising your child, caring for your child, providing for your child. But have you really done what's needed to prepare them for adulthood? Can you honestly say that? No parent is perfect. I am nowhere near perfect. I am flawed in so many ways, but I have done my best to make sound decisions to help the development, the mental development of my children. Um, Not just making sure that they're financially prepared to take care of themselves, especially when I'm dead and gone. It's not just about that. Our children's mental development is crucial, and how we present this information that they're soaking in from birth to before they become a teenager. A lot of it comes from us as parents, what we um, influence them with, what we verbally say, what we physically do or don't do. All of that starts with us as parents. So, this topic is, how can we expect her to know any better? And tonight I'm focusing on our daughters and our nieces. This episode is about our daughters, nieces, female friends, and even female strangers that life seems to put in our path that need some inspiration, that need some guidance, that need someone with common sense, mental maturity, life experiences to help direct us in a better direction. So, let me share some stories with you. Then these are recent experiences. And when I mean recent, I mean within the past 2 weeks to a year. So, this was about 2.5 weeks ago. I was in my bedroom upstairs trying to relax, watching some TV, getting caught up on things, laying in my bed, doing what I got to do, going through papers or whatever. And I hear this female screaming and yelling in the um, back of my house. So I walk to the bathroom because the bathroom is missing the screen, the window screen. So I stick my head out the window to see if I could see anything or see exactly where it was coming from or what was the commotion about. And at that point, I could hear that it was a young female, just from the level and tone of her voice. And she was in a confrontation, obviously, with a male. So I yelled to give notice. Someone's watching you. You need to. So they was he or she was either stop what they were doing and move on. It continued. So I I got my security wand, the kind that you whip out and you could beat the mess out of somebody with. So I got that, and I actually got my extension cord. I had both. I had my wand in my pocket just in case if I had to do something and lost the extension cord, I could whip that out too. You always got to be prepared. So anyway, I walked around to the back of the house, and at that point, I guess the guy knew that I was coming, so he left. So at that point, I see the girl. She's walking in the back of the house, and she's crying hysterically, upset, obviously. So I could hear, well, no, I couldn't really hear what they were saying when I heard the arguing and the fussing and stuff, but I could tell it was something serious and intense. But she was all hysterical. This girl couldn't have been no more than 14, and I'm skeptical to say even 15. She was young. She was crying hysterically, so I met up with her. I walked up towards her and asked her, was she all right? And she proceeded to, cry hysterically. She was saying that her boyfriend just left her there, which she didn't live in the complex. So now she has to walk home. So before I even got any further of asking her questions, she was just hysterically crying and just blurting out stuff. And she was like, he got upset that this boy had said something to me. The boy wasn't hitting on me, but my boyfriend got upset thinking that was wrong with me. And I was trying to tell him I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And I could tell that he had been hitting on her because her face was kind of swollen. And well, again, I can just tell that he was hitting on her. And then she said, and then, I tried to tell her, sweetie, someone that treats you like that doesn't love you. And I know that you don't want to hear this, but you're too young to know what love is. You can't allow someone to take advantage of you or mistreat you. So you need to go home and you need to talk to somebody that you know that cares about you, hopefully a parent. She wasn't listening to me. She went on and on about how he got upset about something else, and that then she switched the what she was saying to, and that he had sex with my best friend just to get back at me. How could he do that to me? I didn't deserve that. He just treated me so wrong. I didn't do nothing. I can't do this without him. I was like, in my head, I'm like, good God Almighty, Lord. These young girls nowadays, and this is not the only situation I'm gonna tell you about. So I was getting ready to offer to give her a ride home since she did not live in the complex. So as I continued to try to console her, she was just still distraught at the fact that he left her and that he was upset with her. Although she did nothing wrong, it was his issue that escalated the situation. So I was getting ready to turn around and go in my house and get my keys and actually change clothes. I had my night clothes on. Yeah. And this was broad daylight, midday. But hey, I was at home chilling. But anyway, she decided to run off, um, just hysterical. But she was so focused on him being upset with her. She felt at fault, although she did nothing wrong. That's one situation where our young girls, they don't have relationship skills. They were never taught relationship skills. They were never, their parents never took the time to really teach them how to identify abusive behavior. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. When it comes to our young girls are more acceptable to being influenced by these young boys who we all know just want to get in their pants and have sex. That's all they want. They're not looking for no committed relationship. But as young girls, a lot of young girls don't get this. But from the way they're treated from the beginning, it's easy for them to be influenced. And then that's when the guy know, I got her. You know, it's just a game. That's how it's played. The first problem with this whole situation when it pertains to the young girl, any young girl, any situation, this is just one of them. Our young girls are susceptible to these abusive influences when, number one, when their daddy never taught them how a man should treat a woman. Either it was shown physically and visually on how they treated their mother, or the father never put in the actions throughout this child's life growing up from a baby to a toddler to a preteen to a teen. We think that just going to work to pay the bills, coming home, feed the child, ask the same question every day, how you doing? What's going on in school? What's going on with your grades? We don't really get involved. That's not getting involved with our children's lives. I'm sorry, it's just not enough. But the relationship on teaching a female, a young girl, how to be treated by a man starts with the father. And when the father has fallen short, and then probably also the mother, I'm going to get on that part too, but now we're on the father's responsibility. If the father doesn't take the time to teach that child how a man, and that's a whole nother other topic, the understanding of the word man and manhood. But how can we expect our young girls to know any better or do any better to avoid abusive relationships when they have never been taught by us, the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the grandmothers, the grandfathers? We don't get down and dirty and talk to these kids the way we should. We expect, when we do the basics, in our mind, we saying, oh, they're good, they got it, they gonna be to work things out. How? You haven't taught them anything on how to work things out or how to deal with situations in life when it comes to personal relationships. You don't teach them. I'll tell you another situation. My aunt called me, and this was also a couple of weeks ago. And she asked me, because I'm a Lyft driver, that is my first business. And she asked me how can Lyft track who picked up a person, picked up a passenger. And I told her, yes, it can be done, but she has to have an account. But if she's a minor, she shouldn't have an account. She could if she has a debit card to put on file. So that is possible for a minor to have their own account. They can get by with that. But if it's not her account and someone else ordered the ride for her, which probably could have been a man, there's no way that that could be identified unless there is a police report put in for a missing child's report. And then the police will investigate and get with Lyft to try to identify who ordered the ride and what driver picked her up and where they took her to. So this young girl, she was, I think my aunt told me 13 or 14. I think she said 13. Either 13 or 14. And she proceeded to tell me that, the girl was troubled. She was always running away from home. And one day, the neighbor called the grandmother. Yeah, she lives with the grandmother. The neighbor called the grandmother and told her, look outside and see what your grandchild doing. And this young girl was in the back of her house, her grandmother's house, giving a boy head. Even having the conversation, and this has been going on for years, because even when, I won't say names, I'm not going to say names, but even, let's say how old that person could be, 15, 18 years ago, in middle school, there was a group of girls, not a school that I went to, I'm talking about somebody else's life experience. And this was, I'll say the school. Is that Chapel Hill Middle School? Yeah, Chapel Hill Middle School, because Kaylee went to Cedar Grove Middle School. Yeah. Yeah, the one off of Flat Shells Parkway. Yeah, okay. It's a group of young girls. Back then, even then, they would sell their bodies for money. Yeah, it was a club. So this is nothing new that I'm talking about now. This is a repeated cycle of bad behavior, all generating from lack of knowledge. It's not just lack of self-esteem or self-worth. Yes, that's part of it, but it's not the root of it. The root of it is that they were never taught. We expect our young girls to know how to deal with abusive relationships. And abuse comes from many forms. I'm not just talking about the physical. There are a lot of forms of abuse. This young girl again has constantly been running away. Her friends are not telling where she is when you know they know where she is. Some of these parents, stupid ass parents, I'm sorry, so I'm gonna curse. Some of these parents even let these young girls live in their house without even speaking to their parents. And I'm privy to this uh, in my immediate family. How can you allow a child to come live in your house with your son and you haven't even spoken to the parents to even understand the situation, get the truth of the situation? That that back then that even baffled me. So those parents were even in a childlike mindset of stupidity. Even if one of my sons came to me back in the day and said that his girlfriend, was in trouble in a situation at home, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to speak to the parents. I'm not just going to up and say, well, baby, you can come stay at my house. You ain't got, no, that's not how that works. That's not how that should work. But they don't even do that. You are enabling. It's just ridiculous. We keep living and dealing with the same cycle of bad behavior and lack of knowledge. Um, I don't know whether the girl came home. I haven't even talked to my aunt about that situation again, but I just told her point blank, the grandmother needs to do a missing persons report and go from there. The only thing y'all can do is pray at this point that she's not being turned out by a group of guys or the one guy that she with. Hopefully it's not a grown man. Um, and hopefully she doesn't get caught up in human trafficking. Young girls, y'all got to understand the stuff y'all see in the movies. Those are not just, yes, they're fictional characters, but they're real life situations. This stuff happens for real. It happens for real. But again, it starts at home with us empowering our girls to be empowered with information. Another situation, I had a couple get in my car, and this was a black female, black male, early 20s. Or no, he was probably early 20s, but she was probably between 18 and 20. Now, when I went to pick them up, they weren't at the point that was on the app. So, like always, I do my best to find my passengers before I end the ride and move on. So, I see this couple walking up towards the car, coming down the sidewalk, but she's carrying a big branch. I mean, a big branch and long branch. And this girl, she taller than me. I'm 5'6". Well, no, I'm 5'5" because I now found out that Kayla's 5'6" and she taller than me. So I see the girl walking with this big long stick, and the stick is even taller than her. So I'm thinking to myself, oh Lord, I just hope I know they're not gonna get in my car because I could see it was a situation. So as they were coming to the car, one headed towards the right passenger door, the girl headed towards the left passenger door to sit behind me. And of course, she put the stick down. So at this point, I'm like, ugh, another couple gonna be arguing in the car. Now, and I can tell you right now, when couples get in my car and they argue, and it's gotten out of hand, yes, I say something to the man first. And yes, my voice has a tone to it. Yes, I'm forceful. No, you are not doing this in my car. Y'all gonna either refrain from this until you get out. But you're not gonna treat her this way in my car, and you're not gonna behave this way in my car. And you can either respectfully do what I say, or you can get out right now. Yes, when I have couples to do that, yes, I shut it down. Now, back to the couple. They got in the car, they were quiet. And then I kept hearing him speaking, low, trying not to let me hear what he was saying, but I got bad ears. I heard everything he was saying. So the confrontation resumed, and it was about, now let me tell you, the ride took, it was a two stop ride. The first part of the ride was like 20 minutes, and the second part of the ride was like 30 minutes. Now, this argument between these two started with, he was asleep. She couldn't find her charger for her phone, which was going dead. So it was actually time for him to get up to go do something. But she woke him up a little bit early, a few minutes early. And he is not a nice person if he's woken out his sleep. So that's how the argument started. And throughout the escalation of them in the back seat, I heard every part of the story. Everything that happened from the time they woke up to the time they got in the car. Now, in between them trying to argue softly like I can't hear them, the boy's mother called him and asked him something, of which he lives with his mama and he's 20 something. Yeah. No job. Anyway, the way he talked to his mother, I wanted to turn around and slap the shit out of him. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to do it for the way he talked to his mother. That would have been dukes up for me if one of my boys ever thought they could talk to me like that. I would have fought them like a nigger on the street. But anyway, the conversation ended with the mother on the phone. When he got off the phone, he talking about, don't nobody tell me nothing. I pay my bills. But I'm thinking, I just heard you talk about you ain't got no job, so how you paying your bills? So either you a drug dealer, or which you can't be no good one, because the ride was paid for on the girlfriend's card. It was her account. And the argument was escalating because the boy took her phone. Found out later in the ride that she has a gay male friend and they follow each other on social media. He did not like that she was following a gay guy, although it was a friend. Okay. He didn't want to give her phone back because he was searching through her social media to see who she was engaging with even further. So that's a controlling issue, and that's narcissism. narcissism. Again, we got to teach our kids, and that's going to be on the next episode, breaking down the different behaviors that our girls should be identifying when it comes to these boys that they're interested in. So it escalated even further. And as we were about to approach the first stop, the first destination, the way they were talking to each other, it was aggravating me. It was just, it was squeezing my soul. So I turned around and I said, look, you all keep saying that you care about each other, but listen to the way you're speaking to each other. That's not how you speak to someone you claim to care about and love. This boy said, you ain't heard everything that happened. You just getting part of the story. I said, well, just based on what I'm hearing, you have control issues. And I don't see no ring on neither one of y'all finger. But even if you were married, that doesn't mean you control her. You can't control her friends, the relationships that she has. You can't keep her from people all to yourself. I said, y'all have a lot of growing up to do. But for right now, I don't want this to escalate anymore. I want y'all to calm down and allow this time to think. So she started crying because it felt good that I spoke up, because she told me this after on to the second destination. I'll get to that in a minute. She started crying because it felt good that someone was stepping up for her. So I could tell that he was getting even further upset. So I'm like, well, let's just try to have a quiet ride, and hopefully they use this time to calm down. So we got to the first destination. The first destination was her dad's store, which was shut down. It had a shut off notice on the sign about the water. So that's a whole nother story. So she went to the store to get her belongings. And of course, he went in there with her. Now, I knew that once they stepped inside that store, that he was going to abuse her. And yes, he did. So I'm preparing for her to get back in the car. I wasn't going to let him back in the car though. At this point, I pulled out my security wand. I pulled out my taser. I had a different parts that I could reach to or in my pocket if I had to get out the car to only let her in the car. I know y'all say I'm doing too much, but I'm just telling you the story. It is what it is. This is me. So I also pulled out my knife. I mean, a big military knife. Hey, although I'm thick, I know I'm strong. I can handle myself, but still, a man can still overpower me if he wanted to. So I was being prepared if I had to, but I would have did the less violent approach first, with the wand and the taser gun. I would have hit him and I would have tased him so he would have stayed down so we could have got in the car and left. So anyway, so I'm just preparing because I'm not letting him back in the car. I'll take her where she needs to go. But she had the smart sense to leave him there. And of course, he ran and raving outside and all this stuff. And no, he didn't do anything stupid and kick or hit my car. Then I would have got him with his tail for real. But anyway, that didn't happen, thank goodness. So she got in the car. I jetted off and took her to her next stop. Of course, she back there crying. And I'm trying to console her, give her some inspiration, motivation to love herself. She doesn't have to accept that type of behavior. That's not love. And some other stuff that I said. Now, the next part of the ride was 30 minutes. Come to find out, the destination for the second ride was to the hospital. And this hospital was off of what is that hospital off 285? Not Piedmont. Not it's out 400 and 285. But anyway, come to find out, well, before I get to the hospital part, I made a comment to her. I said, well, thank goodness that you're not, I asked her, I said, do you all have children together? Do y'all have a child together? She's like, no, but I'm pregnant now. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, well, what you gonna do about that? Now, I'm gonna give my opinion, my insight. Y'all ain't gotta agree with it. This is my platform, my story, and I'm telling my story, what happened that day. My opinion is my opinion. So for what I'm about to say, I don't need nobody jumping in and telling me I'm wrong and all that. That's against God. Shut up. Keep that to yourself. Keep your opinion to yourself when it comes to this, what I'm about to say. So I asked her, well, are you going to keep the baby? And she was like, I do and I don't. I said, well, I'm going to tell you this. You need to consider, if you have the baby, he's going to be a part of your life for a very long time, and he will be part of raising your child. Is that something you want of a father for your child based on what he's showing you now? Oh, I didn't tell you what he did to her inside the store. He popped her in the mouth and busted her lip with a Coke bottle that was in the store. A a full Coke bottle, an unopened Coke bottle, and popped her in her mouth. Yeah. So she got in the car with a busted lip. So she said she was 3 months pregnant, or close to 3 months pregnant, because I think close to 3 months pregnant because she wasn't showing at all. So, am I for having abortion? Do I think that a woman should not do it? I will not say that. I will say a woman has the right of choice to have an abortion or not. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So any of y'all want to get some kickback on that, keep to yourself. I won't be responding to it. So and I said, well, do you have family that you can go to? You said this was your dad's store. Can your dad help you in your situation, help you get away from him? She was like, he already know what he do. I said, what? So even the father is not even protecting her. So my heart is just continuously sinking for this girl. Then we find out, she tells me that where we're headed to is to the hospital where her sister is, her older sister, who just got shot in the head from a boyfriend. I'm thinking to myself, Lord, if I can drive a little faster to get this girl out my car, because she is just killing my whole vibe this morning. I continue to try to motivate her. I even gave her my card to call me if she needed somebody to talk to. Because I just hate to see our girls so involved in these abusive relationships, because they don't have to deal with stuff like that. I have been in an abusive relationship, one of my children's fathers. Now, I will say he's not the same man now. So we have mended that relationship. We are still friends and family. And he is truly a different man. And I forgave him a long time ago. Forgave him for me, not for him. And he has apologized. But anyway, so I'm not just speaking because I don't know. That has been the only abusive relationship I have ever been in, because I would never allow that to happen again. I wish they would. But anyway, I am like a smaller group of women that take these life experiences, bad life experiences, and turn them into making us stronger, empowering us, knowing our worth, understanding our value. But not every girl has this gift, and there's too many out there that don't. So by the time we got to the hospital, um, she seemed to be in better spirits, or was able to think more clearly about what she was really going to do next. And I spoke honestly with her. I said, honestly, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go right back to him. Because with you being pregnant, now you feel like you need him. But what do you really need of him if he's not even there for you now, and treating you the way he's treating you is going to get worse. And the next person that will be in the hospital will be you. Oh, I spoke very candidly with her, held her hand as I was driving, reaching back. And I've done that a lot with some of my passengers. Being a share ride driver is just like being a bartender. We're unofficial therapists and listening ears. Uh, Another story. Kayla and I were coming home one day. Yeah, and this was in the past couple of weeks too. Good Lord. Yeah. Kayla and I was coming home. We were parking the car in the parking lot of the complex. And it's a long walkway to our front door. So the stairs at the street to the walkway, this girl's car was right there at the steps. So we turned at the car. At this time, my neighbor, and I've never seen him before, but since this happened, I've seen him often. But anyway, I guess this was his girlfriend that had come to visit him, and they got into a confrontation. She left. She got in her car, and then he came to her car and he was knocking on the window to open the car, which he was trying to get something out of the car before she left. She was upset, obviously, didn't want to open the car door to let him in. So he started punching the window. I was like, Kayla, walk up and get in the house. Then I heard this tap on the window that changed from the sound of his fist punching the window to, I could tell it was the bottom of a gun. So he hit in the window, and I'm like, holy shit. So I walked faster towards the house, and I pulled my phone out in case I got to call the police. And I had my video recording him. Still got it because I might take it to the leasing office later. I was going to take it to the leasing office if something else occurred, but I still have it on my phone just in case. So he telling her, "You better open the car. I ain't got time for this stuff." So I mean, he literally, I'm surprised he didn't bust the side door glass. So she finally opened the doors. He like, "I'm tired of your mess. You keep on. I'm gonna shoot this car." And he pointed the gun towards the car, and you know, what do you call that when you do the gun like that? What do you do that when you pull it back and it cock it? Yeah, he cocked the gun. So I'm like, man, ain't nobody got time for this. So as we walking, me and Kayla getting to the door, that started conversation on that situation. I had to talk to her about that, explain the situation, explain what the behavior is, and explain what she should do if she finds herself in that situation ever. So luckily he didn't shoot the car. He didn't actually shoot. If he had actually shot the gun, I would have immediately called the police. But he knew I was watching him. He knew he was. He knew I was. Even as he was walking back towards his unit, I was standing in my doorway watching him, videotaping him. Stuff like that don't bother me anyway. Which is another problem in our community. when we want to stick our head in the sand like an ostrich. That don't solve nothing. That's how those people can get to do what they do, because they know ain't nobody gonna say nothing or do nothing. I'm not the one, because I live here too. So, but that was a moment for me to even have a conversation with Kayla about that situation. When Kayla and I watch movies, I don't try to shield her from certain movies, but I use that as opportunity to explain how she can and should handle things. Even a movie such as Taken, and I'm sure y'all have seen Taken with Liam Neeson. Don't try to hide that from your kids. That can happen in life. What if me and Kayla went on vacation to another country and she's, checked, watch like that, and something happens? Use those opportunities to start conversations. That's teaching your kids how to handle certain things in life. It's no different than these girls being in these bad relationships. Alexa, stop. It's going to be a little longer than 9 o'clock. But anyway, so yeah, we got to talk to our kids. And you don't have to be mindful of the words that you use or the impact you use to get the point across, because I trust me, when they had these conversations with their peers, their friends at school and stuff, they not changing the language. They talking straightforward. You can't shield our kids from life. Just because you think they don't know about it, that they won't ever be exposed to it. How damaging if they are exposed to it and they're in panic mode and don't know how to get out of the situation, resolve the situation, or to know how to not get back in that situation again. That's just my method of parenting. However your parenting works for you, just make sure you talk to your kids. Talk to them. Even when it comes to the story I just told you about the young girl who's in the back of the house giving head. Do you know how many young girls are doing this? They doing this before they have sex because they don't feel that's sex. But you got to have the conversations about giving oral sex, the diseases, the infections. So it ain't got to be the immediate worst being getting herpes in the mouth. You can get infections in the mouth. So it's talk to your kids. Stop thinking that they don't know, or they haven't heard it from somebody else, or it hasn't been exposed to them on social media, whatever the case may be. Y'all better get your head out of the sand and talk to your kids. Don't hold back, and make it a regular thing. I don't mean beat it in their head, but use opportunities at dinner. Or me and Kayla have our dates. Those when we spend time together outside of home and we go do something, and I budget to go do those things, I always start some type of conversation to teach her about life. If we see something while we out and about that she's being exposed to, I'm going to start the conversation with her so that she can start understanding how to deal with, how to approach, how to resolve. I don't know where y'all get that if y'all don't say nothing, then they good. They don't know. They don't have to worry about nothing. Because what? What planet are you living on? Stop being afraid to talk to our kids. Our kids are the next generation of adults. And if they screwed up and don't have the mental maturity to deal with things, what is our future going to be? It starts at home, people. So again, where do we start? Start the serious conversations as early as age 10. I don't mean start talking about any and everything. I mean start having the hard topic conversation starting at age 10. Some of y'all probably be saying that's too young. Why? Why you think it's too young? Even before they're age 10, you should be having conversations with your children about their cousins and other family members when it comes to incest and molestation. That happens before age 10. Children, and y'all can debate this all y'all want. I'll post data on it later if y'all need me to prove it. But if you didn't know, you about to know now. Babies have sexual feelings. It's not about the baby wanting sex. It's about how their body reacts to stimulation. A baby can have an orgasm. It's not about the sex. It's about their body reacting to stimulation. I'm not talking about somebody molesting them. But even if you taking your baby a bath, and if your baby, not every baby, but if your baby is stimulated, their body is just reacting. It's not their brain reacting, it's their body reacting. So if y'all don't know about that, y'all need to do some research to understand that that's actually true. But if we don't talk to our young kids when they go spend the night over cousin's house or spend the night over friend's house, they got brothers and sisters. Okay. What if that brother or sister molests your child? Don't you think you should have a conversation on explaining to your child how they should react, what they should do when they feel uncomfortable? It's okay to say no. If you don't have the conversations, they don't have the mental maturity to completely defend themselves. But if you start the conversations to develop their minds to be able to deal with situations, that helps them. That helps them grow to make better decisions, how to protect themselves first. And this discussion is not going to end here. It's going to expand. But I'm just touching some points on some things. Y'all got to stop being scared to talk to your kids. The cousins, they gonna try something with your child. Just because they a blood relative does not mean that they are not going to be experimenting on what they see, what they hear, and what they've been exposed to. It's not saying that they're a bad person or child. They're young, they're developing. So what they comprehend is not at the level of a mature adult. They may not necessarily know that it's wrong. You got to stop being afraid to talk to your kids. We got to stop just thinking that just telling our daughters, oh, you got to have self-esteem. You got to love yourself first. Yeah, you say those things. That's good and all fine. But have you explained what those words and phrases really mean for her to understand how to apply it to life situations? That's learning. Just hearing the words, that's not learning. You have to understand how it applies to life situations and how to handle those situations accordingly. We even got young kids having anal sex over vaginal sex because they feel it's not actually sex. They let these young boys have anal sex with them. So, yeah, like I said, we go get, I get straight to the point. It is what it is. I'm trying to shake y'all to understand we have to do better at raising our young girls and our young boys. Young boys episode will be later because we got one more episode focused on the girls, and then the third episode will get started on the boys. We have to give clear understanding in having these conversations with our girls. Clear understanding on self-worth and self-love. And it's not going to be one conversation. You need to plan this stuff out throughout their age cycle. Don't think that that one conversation, they got it. They can handle it for the rest of their life. No, these are going to be periodic conversations to reiterate, to get it into their brain, because it's a process of development. But it also helps your child when you start these conversations, helping develop your child, your children. It's also helping them to understand they can come talk to you. If you don't encourage your child to believe that they can trust you and they can come talk to you, even if the first thing they say out their mouth makes your soul cringe and in your head you screaming, no, you got to remember you were once a child. You needed this information back then too. Engage in the conversation. Try to be as supportive as you can. Give your opinion, give your insight, give your suggestions. That's the best thing that you can do. But sitting back doing and saying nothing, that's just stupidity. That's ignorance on your part. We have to teach our kids the different signs of abusive behavior. We all hear about being a narcissist, um, verbally and mentally abusive, all this stuff, but it's different levels. So when you start the conversation, know what you're talking about. If you got to bring some data into the conversation, fine, make it happen. But we got to start talking. Accountability. What are you as a parent not saying or doing? What are you as a parent showing your daughter yourself? What is she seeing of your actions as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a girlfriend? What are you allowing to happen in front of her face? We as parents only say, and we think once we say those little short, periodic phrases, love yourself, have self-esteem, don't let nobody treat you wrong, don't let a man hit on you. Yeah, those are important things to say, but you got to give the rest of the information behind that. So we figure that's all we need to say. They good. They'll be dealing with stuff in life. And saying we don't want to get involved as family members, as community, this sends a volatile message to these females and the abusers. And we can talk about what kind of message that sends when you choose to not to get involved. I will say this one thing. When it comes to family incest, and when it comes to Let's say a mother gets a new boyfriend and the boyfriend ends up molesting the child, whether it's a girl or boy. Think about how you contributed to your child being hurt because you did not parent the way you should. That's another topic. But my point of bringing that up is we as a family and community, these abusers, it wouldn't be as prevalent as it is or it has been if we as family and community stood up, protected our kids. Even back in the day, if it came to family justice, if an abuser know they're gonna get their ass whooped or get beat down by some uncles and some brothers and some dads, they're less inclined to do so. Yes, they are less inclined to do so. If we as family members don't at least step up and protect the child even after the assault has happened, we choose to be silent within families. We choose to ignore like nothing happened. You more concerned about others finding out and your family being embarrassed. What the hell? No, that's the second time you done let that child down because you didn't protect them from the beginning of it happening in the first place. We're quick to respond. Like when we see these young girls in these relationships, like even the ones I just mentioned to you, we quick to respond. How can she be so stupid? How can she stay with him and accept that? You just have low self-esteem and don't value your worth. You need to get better. Why did you not leave him the first time it happened? You should know better. You was raised better than that. How you know that? Too many of our families don't talk about this stuff. So how does she know how to deal with these situations when she get older and in these abusive relationships? Even when it comes to the young couples dating. Well, I can't even just say young because there's still some older couples, and that's because again they never were taught right. A man who, well, I'm not gonna get on that right now, but that'll come up in another episode. Um, but even when it comes to a man being controlling, not wanting you to have no friends, asking and checking on what you doing and where you going all the time. Um, don't want you looking at nobody or get upset when somebody look at you. I've had that happen a few times. And at one time I was pregnant and the guy was gay. We were at work. I was at work. This was Kroger on Ponce de Leon. And my coworker was a gay black boy. You could look at him and tell he was gay. I was pregnant. And my son's father came in the store and saw us in the you know how the Kroger used to have a little cafe or restaurant in there, and the lights were off. It was after hours, so that part of the store was closed as far as the restaurant. So I'm sitting there waiting for to be picked up to go home. So he came in and he was looking for me and saw me sitting there and got upset. Even when I said nothing was going on. And he gay. And I'm pregnant. But that didn't change him getting upset and later on that evening coming physically abusive. So, I mean, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what the hell? What? I'm pregnant. I mean, pregnant, pregnant. I mean, I know I'm cute, but dang. But I'm not laughing at the situation. I mean, I can now. I'm over that. I have dealt with that. I would never deal with that something like that again in my life, and never did. But anyway, um, some young girls think that's attractive in the beginning. In the beginning, it seems attractive. Oh, they care about me. He loves me. He just protecting me. Girl, no. But how can you expect her to understand that if you, as a parent, have not taught her how to deal with those situations, how to identify those behaviors? We quick to blame the girl on being in the relationship. And there are so many scenarios that I can bring up. I mean, we got to talk. We got to talk. We got to talk. First tip: before and when your daughter or niece starts dating, I can tell you one thing right now, the easiest thing that you can do right now, the first conversation you can have is about setting up a safety word or phrase. For example, let's say, let's say Kayla, my daughter. No, she's not dating. Glad she ain't looking to date right now, no time soon. But when she does, even after everything I've taught her and will be teaching her, let's say she ends up in a bad relationship. It may not have started that way, and me and her brothers and everything, we thinking everything fine, but eventually it may turn into a bad relationship. So let's say one day they come over for dinner, or and let's say Kayla does not like pecan pie. Okay, since I know that Kayla does not like pecan pie, she could use that as a safety word or phrase in a way of asking for help. And of course, I'm meaning like if they in a relationship and she's older, and let's say they living together, or they in a relationship but have separate places but spend their time together. So she's not around me or her other family members on a regular basis. So let's say they come over for dinner, and she'd be like, "Mom, can you make me one of them pecan pies next week?" I'll say yeah, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you don't like that pecan pie. So that's because we had the conversation years ago. That's her safety word to let me know she needs help getting out of this relationship. Because not every relationship you can just easily walk away. It depends on the situation and the person you're dealing with. So you have to plan everything out. There's a strategy to everything in life, and this is also one of them. So once Kayla says that to me, and I act like it's all good, yeah, I'll make you one. I know at this point my child needs to be saved. Now, with this being my household, one, two things gonna happen. Because she gave me that safety word. Yes, my child, my daughter will be staying with me and will not be leaving with you. Now, whether you leave here walking or not, and especially if her brothers are here, he might not be walking right when he leave here. Yeah, that's just the way that's gonna happen. And one of my sons might keep him here, and we go to her place and get her stuff, and then we'll let him go. But you understand what I'm saying? Even having the conversation with your daughter about a safety word or phrase, so that when she says it, or even if she's on the phone with you and she gives you this, again, whatever y'all choose to use, you just have to remember her safety word. And when she says it, you got to go into action and protect your family. Okay? This safety words, it helps notify family and friends of a dysfunctional or dangerous relationship. This can be handled in several ways, so discuss it. We have to understand the behaviors first, though, to be able to explain the proper responses for the different situations. And again, that's going to be brought up in the next video. So next Saturday episode, I will share some of these behaviors to identify in abusers so that you can start the conversations with your girls. I will cover various life situations and scenarios and explain ways to explain to your girls potential solutions. Hopefully with some engaging viewers to help stop the cycle to repeat problems within our culture and community. Because going through these situations can feel like you're free falling without enough time to think on how to handle it. And that's part of what we need to teach our young girls. Not going to forget about the males again. That's going to come up later, probably in the third episode. So teaching our males to become men. And first of all, understand what being a man and being of manhood is. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed this to go over how we can expect to, how can we expect him and her to handle personal relationships and more so abusive relationships. Okay. So look forward to that. But this next episode, the very next episode, is going to extend about our young girls. And we're going to go into more details. And I hope that I have some an engaging audience. And I'm going to look at the screen in just a moment and see if I have any questions. So until next time, take care. And I hope to see you back because the topics will just get even more intense, people. It will. We're going to talk about our kids, personal relationships, self-care, what self-care really means. It doesn't mean going to the salon, getting your hair done and your nails done. Real self-care. Talk about relationships, even marriages. Yes. So, and I intend on inviting people for panel discussions and debates and even some special guests. So as always, I hope that you found some value in the content shared today. So until next time, take care of yourselves and know that knowledge is real power when you apply it. And again, please click like and click share. If you want to see more, I need for you all to do this. Click like, click share, comment if you like, and don't forget to click subscribe. My live video is mainly on YouTube, but this is also my first premiere doing live on Facebook. So, yeah, give me some feedback, people. I thank you. All righty. You all take care. Get everything adjusted.